Five, four, three, two, one. We have ignition. Strap in. You're about to listen to the hottest sounds.
Dreamcatcher Radio.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to my show Beyond the Cover on Dreamcatcher Radio, where I talk about books, literature, and also music. Let's give a great shout out to Marcelo's show and his fantastic music he's been playing throughout the show. Keep it up, man. I really love it. Now, before I really talk about in detail what I'm going to wrap up from fanfiction, and if I have time, start to talk about literature, I received two fantastic comments from people, and I'm going to mention them right now. So, I received one from Stephen from Manchester that loved my show, and he's also from Portugal, and is looking forward to my next show. So, thank you, Stephen. Really appreciate it. And next one is Louise from Watford, and funny enough, she was listening to my show while she was in the gym. And from my information I gave, she decided to buy a book. My dear Lois, I am really, really pleased to hear that you decided to buy a book. Now begins your true adventure of finding out what you will love, be passionate about reading, and who knows, maybe if you find that you have the talent to write, go forward. Don't hesitate. Really, really many thanks. And now, from Debbie, he asked if we will have a fashion for people to talk with me in the show. And in the future, we will. And the Dreamcatcher Radio people are looking forward to it. And they say that this should be sorted out to the end of this month. So this is everything from people listening to my show. And I really hope that this will keep out. Now, in the last week, I touched on fan fiction, its definition, and its brief history, and how it evolved into fandom, as well as the creative ways fans express their passion for their favorite media. Today, I will wrap up on fan fiction, especially its tags and terminology, and then discuss how fan fiction helps writers start their writing journey. That's right, it really helps. And with the rest of the time left, I will begin the journey of exploring literature, which is going to be a very, very big show with a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm very excited for this. And then also writing. And this is a very new thing because while I was searching about literature, I came across a book called Bookshops by George Carrion. I thought, why not talk about it? Because let's face it, bookshops have been for a very long time. And who knows? It might be an history about it. And I think it'll be interesting to know when everything began, how it developed, and when it gained its popularity. So I will also talk about it. In the conversation about literature, there will be a part of my show where I will touch on the history of English and Portuguese literature. Now, this is a request. If you would like to dive into another country's literature and give examples of authors, please don't hesitate to place your request at hello@dreamcatcherradio.com. So, in the conversation about literature, there will be a part of my show where I will touch on the history of English and Portuguese literature. Now, if you would like to dive into another country's literature and give examples of authors, please do not hesitate to place your request and hello@dreamcatcherradio.com. And if you like, also tell me books that are important in the period so I can explore their importance. I'll be interested in learning about other cultures' literature, and who knows, adding more books to the authors to my bookcase and yours as well. Now, we will now wrap up for the fan fiction. And as you have remembered, and I remember you, we touched the definition of fan fiction, and we come to the conclusion that fan fiction is just a piece of passionate media, especially aimed to fans to create community, bond with each other, from the same things they like. And then we touch about his brief history, and we noticed there's a lot going on, that a lot of fans, even in the time they didn't know it was fan fiction, the term, really started to develop the fandom. And we also noticed that it was the Star Trek fans that started this. So now we also touched as well on the lawsuits that also brought this as well and come to the conclusion that There was no point or trying to pursue people just because people just write about their passionate medium. And so the fiction was there, fandom was created, and now we have the fandom and the fan fiction. And now I am going to touch some tags used in fan fiction, and I say some because I will just talk about those who are more I am more familiar. But there are plenty out there. So despite fan fiction writers using genres such as romance, humor, and tragedy, just like in your typical literature, some tags are explicitly associated with fan fiction. And I say this because, in general writing, people just use, for example, romance or, I don't know, tragedy, whatever. But in fiction, there are specific tags that are from there. And as you're going to listen to me, this comes to the culture of fan fiction, how the thing was created. So now, I put it in Angus, which is the most viewed in popular fan fiction, which is simply put, Angus is a genre where it focuses on a character or characters who are brooding, sorrowful, or in anguish. This is mostly related to probably tragic things or when characters are in a very low moment and they need some processing some things or some traumas. Usually we use anguish to create some conflict between the characters. And alternative universe, which is usually we call AU, is usually used to explore stories when characters are featured other than the original ones. For example, if a franchise features characters in a fantasy universe, writing on AU could bring an idea to explore, let's say, a historical period while maintaining the canon lore intact. This is just an example to use, so you can explore any alternative universe imaginable. Even, let's say, you want to write a story of Spider-Man, but instead of being in the modern time, it could be in apocalyptic universe, for example. That's another thing you can do. Soulmate to you. Stories featuring characters in a world similar to Canon 1 where soulmates exists. The common aspects are a character having their soulmate's name written on their skin, a birth or a specific change that occurs when soulmates see or touch each other on the first time. And just to create a little more suspense, because there's more to say, I will first introducing you to my first song. And it is Still Here by Ford Stephanie Harris 2WEI. Now, this is a song, it's mostly be an anthem, I think, about having courage to not give up against all odds, even on death itself. I'm going to give you just an example of the lyrics of the music. Maybe it's a far stretch that I won't come undone, but I will brave the cold edge to finish up what I have begun.
Gripping with my cold hands, the shapes I used to take. I don't like a strong man, but it's easier to push away. 'Cause you can still here. Memories turn like knives, keep on playing in my mind. All the times I've had to fight, I'm still It's in my blood, it's in my veins. Still I'm still here. I'm still
Keep it locked right here.
Dreamcatcher Radio.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to my show. I really hope you enjoyed the song I played just now, and I really hope as well that the music have inspired you to fight your life for the things that you believe in. Now, as a wrap up, we touched the tags used in fan fiction, mostly Angus, Alternative Universe, which actually many fans call EUs, and also soulmate EUs. And we also saw what elements constitutes on soulmate EUs. And I'm going to keep you at least explaining a little bit more about the soulmate EU. A popular trope written includes a character convinced that they don't have, want, or deserve a soulmate, only to discover the contrary as they fall in love. So that also means that this character probably is naive or perhaps doesn't realize that yet, only to discover by the visible signs of the other character that they are meant to be together. It's like a destiny thing. Now, the next is a crossover, which is another popular thing. So, crossovers are stories with characters from multiple fandoms that fuse with each other and emerge as one. An example could be a crossover between Good Omens and the song Ice and Fire. So, as you can see, these crossovers can be multiple fandoms, can be multiple characters emerge from each other. The idea is just to have fun and creative, interesting things with the story. Dark fic. Usually, these stories are darker and more depressing than the original canon, and sometimes they are portrayed throughout media that is intended to be lighthearted in nature. Dark fiction is also used with disturbing content in mind, featuring elements such as physical or emotional violence or abuse. And here's the dark fiction usually people write this in the tags because sometimes people can be triggered by them, and I think it's a very important thing to be mindful of that. And because some people can physically feel the things when they are reading it, I think we writers have a great responsibility to be compassionate and kind to other people as well. Even though we're writing something that is a little bit disturbing, we also have to keep in mind that others might need to have their peace as well. Now, in contrast with dark fic, we have fluff. Fluff are stories written to be light-hearted and romantic. Within the same genre exists WAFF, which I will describe in terms of warm and fuzzy feelings. So it's like that feeling of cozy thing and be together with someone that you love and have feelings for, or even just a friend. It could be just a friend, really. Now, a little bit of heart and comfort attack. Heart and comfort attack are stories that the character is put throughout a traumatic experience in order to be comforted with the intention of the counterpart that watches or realizes the pain of the character and alleviates it. Another type of genre is womp, focusing on the character's suffering, sometimes including comfort, with excessive with it, maybe in the category of dark fic. So you can see some tags can combine with each other and create new things to explore on the story. And now this hard comfort thing can be on the dark fic. Depends how you actually approach the hard and comfort stack. Now, self-insert. In these stories, the author is present in the fictional world, and the fan fiction is written in the first person. There are several types of self-inserts, including WN, short for insert your name, X-reader, and imagines. Now, I want to remind you that there are more tags to add to the list. However, these ones I am more familiar with. And if you want to know a bit more about these tags, besides on internet, you can always browse it on the website we touched on the fanfic, which is AU3, which offers a large range of tags which you can find and discover. And I believe the site also explores what they really are as well. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is terminologies used in fanfiction. In fanfiction, terminologies are used for different functions, and each of them has their own meaning according to the fanfiction culture. And you're going to see it now. Author's note. Abbreviated as AN, these notes are found directly before the beginning or after the end of the fanfic. Still, they can be written at any point of the story. These notes are direct messages from the author to the reader. An example would be the author leaving an author note explaining how they found it fun, exploring a specific dynamic of the characters while struggling with the certain parts of the story. Usually, these notes serve to tell these things, but also to tell, for example, if a specific tag they cannot write it down on the tags, they can also write down on the notes for people to be aware of. I used to do this a lot in my fanfics. What some things could be trigger people, for example, or if they really know about other stuff. So I think these notes are very, very useful, and I will recommend everyone that's reading fanfiction to read them. It's very, very important. Beta reader. Beta reader, also known as betas, is someone who edits and proofreads someone's fanfiction. Like the betas on normal fiction, beta readers are just the ones that take the time to see your work, to analyze the grammar structure, touch the voice, the characters, the plot, the things you, everything you really need to make sure your story shines. Now, are the batteries being good or bad? I don't know. That depends of the person you catch up really. If you don't catch up someone who really lives in the dark, is the worst experience you can have. But I really hope, as you listen now, that you have a better reader that really, really loves and really would like to dive deeper into your story. Canon. This word means the original story. It refers to anything that is established by the author as the truth. For example, when someone says canon lore, they are referring to the original knowledge of the world created, which can feature plot, character, setting, cultures, etc. I think this is very explanatory, I believe. Drabble. Drabble is a piece of writing that is 100 words, although it is commonly used for any short fanfiction. Yeah, it's just basically your short stories that you just come in a flash in your mind and just wants to explore a thing. I did some of them as well, but not too frequent. Fandom. Now, this is probably a gentle reminder, for thing I've explained when we touched the fandom in history. It is a group of fans who form a community dedicating their time and energy to their shared interests. And also is a group of people that can bond with each other and start new friendships, who knows, and maybe find also other interests besides the fandom. Fangirl and fanboy. These are mostly terms used to refer to an individual who is excited about the fandom and is part of the fandom. It's just a term to use, basically. Headcanon. That is one some people may not be comfortable to talk, or some they are. But remember, guys, this is just for the sake of having fun. A fan's personal interpretation of canon could be the backstory of a character or the nature of relationships between characters. This can be drawn from a subtext in canon, but cannot directly contradict it. If other fans share this interpretation, it can become fanon. An example will be that a particular character wasn't well explored or didn't have much information about them. So the fan of that character begins to imagine everything about the character. And this could be the backstory of the character, the things the author could have explored and didn't. But again, keep in mind, it's all for having fun, nothing else. And now, because I mentioned fanon, fanon is an official canon idea that's accepted as true among fans, but is neither confirmed or officially endorsed by the original author or source creator, preventing to become canon. Fanon can also be interpretation of the original work of details in the canon. Now, this is probably going to start. We're going to start to talk about pairings and that stuff, which is one true pair, which is OTPs. An abbreviation of one true pair referring to a person's favorite ship. OT3 or and OT4, and the list goes on, are used for a polyamorous relationship. That's right. People just love to put the characters together. And again, and you're going to actually see, it doesn't necessarily need to be romantic, it can also be, as a family thing. And for suspense, I will leave it here. My next second song will actually be from an author that unfortunately is not long with us. It is In a Universe by Aureliga, which is the soundtrack of the movie Ghost in a Shell standalone complex. Now, this is a song that when I listened, I didn't catch very well what was as it was about, because I thought it was about fighting your struggles inside and fighting the demons and angels that you have. But apparently, I found out on the internet very well explained in a commentary, and I'm going to say what this person really explained. So, it's about the melancholy of the main character. She was replaced other physical body with android parts and has lost the anchor for a ghost, could be a consciousness or soul, to physical reality and has begun to drift away and the waves to the waves of the net. Now the song is going to be play between English and another foreign language, so I will advise you guys to go online and search for its meaning. But I can tell you one translation from one part of the song, which means yearning, yearning for what's left of loving, to stay with you longer, calling, calling now, spirits rise and falling, to stay with you longer, calling, calling in the depth of longing, to stay with you longer.
Ангелы, демоны кружили надо мной, рассекая
The music you love.
Dreamcatcher Radio.
Hey, welcome back to my show once again. I really hope you love this beautiful song that I play with you right now. So to catch up some things, we touched on terminologies used in fanfiction, and those were author's notes, beta reader, canon, troubles, fandom, fangirl and fanboy, headcanon, fanon, one true pair we call OCPs. And we start from here. Now I'm going to touch on shipping specifically, which is a term fans use to say, I pair these two characters. So shipping is a term used among fans to describe a romantic relationship between two or more characters in the fandom, regardless if it is canon or headcanon. The term shipping can also refer to a fan who is heavily invested in a relationship between the characters. However, not all ships are romantic. In fact, some are platonic in nature. In this case, a platonic ship refers to characters who are viewed as being in a friendship relationship. As you can see, not everything has to be romantic. Now we're going to get a spicy, really spicy here. Smut. Known as porn or erotica, it is a sexually explicit fanfiction in nature, which can be part of a story or the entire story. Used more in the 2000s, terms such as lemon, and these you guys might be familiar with, lemons or lime, used to be euphemisms to refer to explicit material, but it dropped in December 2018 due to the site censorship of author content on Tumblr. So there you have it. a little bit interesting information about it. Trigger warnings. This term is used to warn people of the content of the fanfic that can contain harmful or triggering content for those who have dealt with traumatic situations, allowing them to prepare or avoid certain content. This tag is used when the subjects of a workload deal with issues such as drug abuse, mental illnesses, abuse, or extreme violence. So as you can see, guys, you can just say, write a dark fig while saying, trigger warning, this will contain in the story this, and this. Which also allows other person to also avoid or say, okay, I'm going to prepare for this. I'm expecting this. CS tags as something for your readers to expect to know what they're going to read in your story. So in conclusion, there are more tags to explore in depth, as I mentioned in the beginning. However, these ones are the most familiar to me. Although I recommend taking a moment to check your favorite fanfics website and look at the tags to see their meaning. Nowadays, these websites offer explanations of their meaning. And if not, your fandom community can explain them to you. Or you can find information on the internet. Just have fun. And now, the part that many may not agree with me, or some agree with me. I've been through this. And I can say that my writing have been through a lot of a journey and improved a lot as well. And we're going to actually see how fanfiction helps writers to start a writing journey. So now we dived into the definition of fanfiction, its bravery, and also explore some of the tags and terminologies. Many still believe that fanfiction is nothing but an amateurish piece of fiction. While in some cases it's true, it is also true that you can find good fanfic writers. Remember that everyone starts from nowhere and knows nothing about writing. However, it is also worth remembering that even in fiction literature, as we know it, many critics point out authors who write like amateurs. That is true. So I believe there's a neutrality of each reality of writing, whatever fanfiction or fiction. But have you wondered how fanfiction can help a writer start a journey? As I pointed out in fanfiction history, after some fanfic authors explore their writing, they transition into original work, and believe me, surprisingly, they were prepared to write their own original fiction. In this section, I will tell you how writing fanfiction can help you in your writing journey. Because everybody is his own path, and everybody explores learning at their own pace, and sometimes they have to take steps ahead, sometimes they have to step back a little bit. This depends the experience you have with your better reader. My experience, for example, have been a little bit not so great at the beginning, but then I found someone who actually was very present with me and it helped me a lot. And also I start to realize my strengths and what I could do as well and explore. And I thought I was very creative. And because I was very creative, I start to also realize, I can start write my own fakes. I can start write my own worlds and imagine it. This is why I'm here to tell you my experience. Now, this is based on my personal experience, and other fanfic writers may not want to pursue writing as a career, but others just a hobby or entertainment. Also, what I'm about to refer to does not have a specific order. And it's true, as I explained it, everybody has their own pace on their writing path, so remember, there's no specific order for what I'm going to tell you. Writing fanfiction blossoms curiosity. When you write, for example, about your favorite ship, you are already diving deeper into characterization and backstory and writing tropes that you find interesting to explore. Already, you are practicing things that are elements in literature without even knowing it, and all this will create your curiosity to dive deeper into story, structure, and grammar. And it's true, the more you write, the more you get curious about how you can apply this rule on writing, on how can you explore the character that you want. And with this, even if you don't know nothing about it, you start to get curiosity. You're going to see videos on YouTube how to do this and that, and how to explore this and that, with people with more experience. So you can see, there's nothing stopping you. But it also gives experience about feedback and helps you realize what kind of feedback do you want for your future stories. Believe it or not, when your beta reader is proofreading your story, you will realize with time and experience what good and bad feedback looks like. Communicating with members of the community will help you find a better quality of proofreading. However, keep in mind that many will not fulfill requests for feedback or will tell you when you have stopped reading your story. Unfortunately, many ghost fanfic writers never leave an explanation of why, which can be very devastating since you trusted someone to do a service for you. I experienced this more than twice. And as such, I encourage you to take time to process your emotions. And when they are clear, try to find someone else. And this is true. Believe me, it is very devastating when nobody tells you nothing. They just goes to leave you out of the dark. It's the worst experience you can have, even if a fanfic writer or even a writer. Just take your time, process your things. Don't allow others to tell you what to do or not. Just take a moment, close your eyes, accept the emotions you've got inside you, let them out, cry if you want, but then don't let other people say, yeah, do this, and that. You know deep inside you want to do. Just trust your instincts. But also, writing fanfiction helps you about writing. Already you are diving deeper into elements that are present in literature. Story structure, grammar, characterization, plot, setting, tropes, world building, magic system, conflict, themes, voice, points of view, as abbreviated as POV, language, tone, etc. It encourages you to dive deeper into these elements and understand them present in a story, and maybe after some time, you would like to take courses about a specific part of fiction to improve your writing. And for more suspense even, we're going to see my third song. I'm going to back to my beloved metal. I love metal. Straight to the Sky by Nocturne Bloodlust. This song is amazing. It's brutal. It just makes you feel like you're just straight up to the sky. And you feel it, the bombastic energy of it.
The radio station you can't live without.
Dreamcatcher Radio.
Hi everyone and welcome back once again. I really hope this music has fired you up to keep your day. I know I have. So to wrap up a little bit, we discovered that also fanfiction can help writers to start a writing journey. And I said, writing fanfiction blossoms curiosity, gives experience about feedback, and helps us to realize what kind of feedback you want for your future stories. And it teaches you about writing. Now let's continue the journey because it gives a lot more. It helps develop your writing. Believe it or not, while you write your fanfiction and receive constructive feedback, you are already growing as a writer. Because you are committed to develop the story of your favorite characters of fandom, with time and practice, your writing will grow and flourish. You can always go back and compare how you used to write, and once you look at it now and see how different you were in the past, it creates in you a sensation of accomplishment and growth. This will help you spot areas where you can also improve or refine, and you can move forward with your story. And it's also true. Next, it prepares you to look for writing communities. If you pause and look at how these two connect together, the same fandom you used to be or are still present now can be a gateway to find your writing community. When you share similar interests and tastes about the fandom, you will automatically find writing communities with the same interests, and from there, you will become part of the group. This also encourages you to look for writing communities where you are welcome and seek guidance to flourish as a writer. Seeking people with the same mentality as you will help you, like in your life once you are in a fandom, be part of a group and become their member. But it also creates your writing habits. If you wonder why you spend so many hours spotting repetitive words, whatever the case, writing fanfiction creates a habit for you to sit at your desk and write your story. This is a good writing exercise to help you figure out the story you want to tell. You put your heart and soul into pairings and plots that you know to be your interest, and the readers will notice that. This can develop discipline, concentration, and confidence, which will help you in the future writing career. And also builds confidence and resilience. Everyone, even your favorite author, started from nowhere. While a fanfic writer starts not in a good spot, it makes you realize this is a journey. As you process your writing, take serious actions to make your stay in a good experience for the reader, and also look after yourself as a writer. With time, you realize how much more confident and comfortable you are with your writing. You will recognize your strengths and flaws, and that builds confidence and humility. And with the experience of feedback from others, you will build resilience to harsh criticism, helping you to spot what works and what doesn't work for you. And finally, it helps you transition to original work. After exhausting years of writing someone's works, you feel that it's time to start writing your original stories. There is no specific timeline to determine that each writer is different and knows when it's time to transition to original work. So my advice is to go where you feel ready and start straight from there and start it. This has been my experience, and you might find your experience to be different, and that's the beauty of it. We don't feel the same way, we don't think the same way, and I think we should respect each other's journey to the writing. Now, as I said in the beginning, and I still have some time left, I'm going to talk a little about literature. This is going to be one of the most biggest shows about this, at least in terms of the subject, because there's a lot of things I want to touch here and I want to speak about. This for those interested. We're going to touch in the history even, and going to be in great detail as far as possible, right? Because there's a lot of things to say about this. So let's start with definition. Etymologically speaking, the term comes from Latin literature, meaning learning, writing, grammar. But originally speaking, it means writing formed with letters. From the term littera, meaning letter, the term is often used to describe specifically creative writing, the craft of writing, simply put, the craft. Also, literature is classified as a collection of written works, but also, in a narrowed sense, as a form of art, such as novels, plays, and poetry. As technology has evolved over time and the styles of literature have evolved, it has expanded beyond just paper. Nowadays, it's becoming digital literature. Thus, in a way, literature can also be both print and digital writing. In recent years, its definition has expanded to include oral literature, as much of it has been writing down, as it's now more accessible to us, allowing everyone to learn about the old stories of our culture. The development of printing technology enabled the ever-growing distribution and proliferation of written books. At the same time, the digital era has blurred the lines between online electronic literature and other forms of media. Literature as an art form is often used synonymously with literary fiction, and fiction is considered an artistic merit. However, it can also include works of non-fiction such as biographies, diaries, memoirs, letters, textbooks, and essays. With such a broader definition, literature includes non-fiction books, articles, and other writing information on a specific subject. So, with this information, in summary, literature refers to written books that possesses artistic or intellectual value, encompassing a wide range of human experiences, emotions, and ideas, often reflecting cultural, historical, and social contexts. And after this, I will touch a very interesting thing that I found out online that I wasn't even aware of. I am really curious to have the book of this author, because there is an author that goes with him, William Jonathan Long, I think is the name, and he does speak on his book that is called Linguist Literature, Is History Any Significance for the Life of the English-Speaking World? He gives us 7 literary standards. And I thought this would be very interesting to actually talk about. Because, yeah, it's just such a fascinating thing to think about. When you go to a bookshop and you start to just read what the story is about, it might interest in you. And then you buy the book and then you go to read the book. You start probably to see the standards, I believe. Why so many books are going to be more recognizable, I believe. And so we're going to see this. So, as I said, William Jonathan Long, the author of the book English Literature, Is History Any Significance for the Life of the English-Speaking World, set up 7 standard literary criteria for evaluating the quality of literature that he believed were the standards to help determine whether a work can be considered literally and endure over time. First one, artistry. A work of literature should be aesthetically pleasing and evoke a sense of beauty in the reader. Suggestiveness. Good literature would inspire emotions, evoke deep meanings, through symbolism and imagery, and offer insights beyond everyday experiences. Intellect value. And we're going to stop here. We just started literature in a very exciting note. And for my last song, I will mention, now I'm going to be asking, so sorry if I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but this is not English or anything. I think it's pronounced Lebebuch by Wardruna. So, what does it mean? So this means, actually, healing mountain. A fun fact about his music, in Norse mythology, Lebebuch means, as I said, healing mountain. It was a hill or a mountain that had healing powers. And I thought this group was inspired by that. Now, when I listened for the first time, I thought it was a personal journey that I have to go to climb the mountain, because, as you know, mountain has a meaning. But I heard a quote online from someone called Einar. I don't know if it is a member of the group or someone else, but I'm going to read it because I think it summarizes pretty well the song. Anything of value comes at true cost. I guess the cost I give for this song is shivers down my spine and 8 minutes of the pure focus. But damn, this song is beautiful, strong and deep. Many thanks to Wardruna for making the world a little bit brighter, us a little bit stronger, and the gods happier. May we face the struggles, problems, and challenges ahead of us with courage and strength. May we meet again and enjoy your music life once more, even if the costs demand will until we're going to the edge of the world or the top of a mountain. May Ragnarok be delayed. Until then, I send you readers and Wardrunam the blessings and protection of the gods. May they watch over you and care for you. Skull. Wow, what a beautiful comment. And now I'm going to tell you the translation, a part of the song. At the second stop, where paths across you pause, leave time behind and weighty thoughts. Where you hear heading, there will be no use. The burden lightens, but heavy is the trail ahead.